right, welcome back to the Democratic National Convention, and we've been talking about it and telling you about this for months now, and here it is existing. The split screen of the DNC inside and the unity party that will celebrate Kamala Harris, and tonight we hear what Joe Biden has to say. He will not be able to announce a ceasefire in Gaza, which is the very least of what the people on the right-hand side of your screen have to say. The pro-Palestinian, if you want to call them, some pro-Hamas protesters outside of the DNC, the United Center here in Chicago. Back with us now, Scott Bolden, NewsNation contributor, former D.C. Democratic Party chairman, Joel Rubin, Democratic strategist, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for the Obama administration, volunteered on the 2008 Obama campaign, also the 2012 campaign you were a surrogate for. How similar is what we're seeing to the Obama 2008 campaign here tonight?
It feels very reminiscent. This is the first time I've felt this way since 2008, and I'm glad you brought it up like that. Look, what's happening now is beyond just the candidate. It's a sense of we, us together. And I see it in groups like White Dudes for Harris, right. White Dudes for Kamala just pops up, and 200,000 people show up on a Zoom call overnight, and that's happening across
and you
the
don't
country.
think those guys were going to vote for Joe Biden?
Those dudes were not going to be as motivated for Joe Biden as they are for Kamala Harris.
So that's the issue.
They're
here,
highly
right?
motivated voters.
They weren't getting on a phone call, 200,000 of them.
That's right.
To go for Biden.
Okay.
And that's huge because it's about turnout and energy.
It's very interesting to me, the number of Obama alumni who have now come into the Harris world, right? Because the Biden-Obama world was not exactly best friends. They sort of tolerated each other at Thanksgiving. But, okay, yeah, well, I'll say the quiet part out loud. You don't have to. This messaging, though, freedom, joy, and this change in how they're treating Donald Trump, almost sort of with scorn and humor, rather than this fear language. How much of that is coming from Team Obama?
Well, you know, it's coming from Kamala Harris, quite frankly. She set the tone. She's a joyful candidate. Tim Walz is a joyful candidate. And the Obama world wanted the optimism, had the optimism, and it just synchronizes well. We're not diminishing the threat, but kind of laughing at it right now.
No, so some of the lines and the jokes, and I'm guessing what we're going to hear, are starting to remind me a little bit of when Barack Obama was on the stump roasting Republican Senate candidates either 2 years ago or 4 years ago. It had a different tone to it.
Well, but you
can do something with humor you can't do with anger, right?
Exactly. And the term weird, for example, you know, that's not necessarily an attack. It's just a description of what I think of what you're doing or saying or what you represent. And it's staying above the fray, if you will, versus getting down on the bottom and playing the dozens. And you can see that this is what the voters wanted. I said it last hour that you have them. They didn't want the Biden-Trump piece, and now you give it to them.
Right.
You give them something else, and that's what it is.
Give us somebody else. Somebody else is Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
The folks, Joel, out there protesting, they're still not happy with this change. I'll give you the last 30 seconds. If President Biden cannot announce a ceasefire either now, tonight, which he can't, or by Thursday, does the Democratic Party leave here with Kamala Harris still tied in and pinned down by the left flank?
I think this is going to be an ongoing problem regardless of whether or not there's a ceasefire. There must be a ceasefire because that's what's needed on the ground to get the hostages out and to get some calm in the region, and the president's going to continue in that fight. But I think we're going to continue to see this linger. The thing that's the upside is that if there is a deal, you'll see more and more people peel away and support Kamala from the protest movement. That's
and you
trick.
can imagine this is nothing compared to what it would have been with Joe Biden as the nominee.
I think that's a fair point.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.